she doesn't need much of an introduction in these parts. And I asked her, besides saying that you're fabulous, what else should I say? But she is doing online women's 6-week class right now. She has a new CD, and you will see it on the table in the foyer. She has women's retreats set up in 2023 that you might want to ask her about. And on this coming Wednesday at Unity in Marin, she is doing a drumming and singing circle for women at 7 p.m. So hear the siren call. Karen, thank you for coming today. We are grateful and excited.
Good, thank you. Oh, wait, so is this on now? Check it. Are we on? Check it. Can you hear me? Okay. All right, are you ready for a little song? My religion is kindness, and my church is nature. Is that better? My God is a feeling, lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness. Go to practice it every day. Now everyone has a story, and everyone has pain. When we strip away our masks, we find we're really all the same. It's those little things we say and do that can mean so much. It's a smile, a connection, a simple love and touch. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Every day. Now, today I'm gonna ask myself, what more can I do? What can I do now? Be a radiant child of God and let my love shine through. I'll let my heart be my guide to be the best I can be. I'm gonna share my joy, share my love, give it boundlessly. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness. I'm gonna practice it every day. It's time to blow. Every day. You just have to think it's a saxophone. Went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Well, then Jack fell down and broke his crown. Jill came running after. Said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help ease your mind? He said, hold my hand and just be kind, and I know I'll be fine. Religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is this feeling that lives so deep inside. The job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness. Gonna practice it every day. My religion is kindness, and my church is nature. My God is this feeling that lives so deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness. Gonna practice it every day. My religion is kindness. Gonna practice it every day. Every day. My religion is kindness. I'm gonna practice it. Are you gonna practice it? If not, I'll tell you about it in a second. Every day. Oh yes, so it is. Amen. Thank you. Make sure this is off. Thank you. So, good morning. So can you applaud one more time for me? Just applaud, really loud. Thank you very much. So that's self-indulgent because you could turn this down just a little teeny tad. Because you have to know that for the last 2 years, all I've been hearing every week is this. This is my applause button. So online, every time I'd sing a song, I would just put this to the screen and go, thank you all so much. So when you actually hear live applause, it's really a thrill. So thank you very much for that. So my religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Do you practice this every day? Do you practice being really kind to yourself every day? Do you wake up in the morning and look at, you get out of bed and you go and look in the mirror and you say, oh my God, did you get more beautiful overnight? What is the deal with you? Look at this body. Oh my, you are just a child of God. Look at you. Did you do that this morning? You did? Good. No. Or do you go, oh my God, everything's dropping and I look old and these wrinkles, everything like that. So my religion is kindness is really about starting with yourself. Starting with yourself. So the Dalai Lama said, this is my religion. There is no need for temples, no need for complicated philosophy. Our own brain, our own heart is our temple. The philosophy is kindness. In this pandemic, for the last few years, it seems like we've all had the opportunity to just really practice kindness to each other, to ourselves. I mean, it's been such an example of seeing the political situation and seeing how divided we've become, but then realizing that every day is a choice. Every day we have a choice. When we get out of bed, how is that day going to be? I have a song that I sing all the time called Today I Choose. And it starts off, what do I want my day to be? I choose. What do I want to say today? I choose. Who do I want to be today? I choose. Then the whole song just says, today I choose to be what? Grateful, happy, thankful, peaceful, present. And what my talk is going to be about today is really, it starts with us. It starts with being present in our lives to just be kind first to ourselves. At the end of my talk, I'm going to do a little song. It's based on the Buddhist metta prayer, which is, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. And you start first with yourself, and then you think of someone else, and then you think of the world, but it starts with us. I have another song that I wrote years ago called, I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself, and I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And that little chant came out of me doing something really stupid and calling up a girlfriend and saying, oh my God, you wouldn't believe this stupid thing that I did right now. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm just so stupid. And she said, stop right there. She said, I will not have you talk to my friend like that. She said, would you ever imagine talking to a child the way you're talking to yourself right now? I mean, think of the things that we say to ourselves when we do something stupid. What do we all do? We all mess up somehow. We're all human. But what do we say to ourselves? That's what meditation is. Meditation is not, ideally meditation is that you'll get in this blissful state for 2 hours and, just bliss out. But a lot of us, what happens is we sit down to meditate for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30 minutes, and your mind goes off, right? Your mind starts chattering. It just starts to, oh, what about this? The laundry, I've got to do. And what the real practice of meditation is that when your mind goes off, you gently bring it back. You gently bring it back. You go off, you gently bring it back. And you do that with the breath. And it's the same thing with kindness, to yourself, that you go off, you do something, and you go, oh no, oh little girl, look at how you're doing this. Stop it, stop it, stop it. It's okay. You're doing the best you could do. And you just bring yourself back. The difference is, I think, when you're on a spiritual path, when you are learning tools and techniques every week when you come here of how you can live a better life, is the difference is when you go off, you don't go all the way off and then build a condo in this place called hell and invite people over for drinks and appetizers and stay there and decorate the walls. What you do is you bring yourself back. You bring yourself back to kindness. So, one of the things that I think is interesting is that this particular talk, when I was looking at when I was here last time, I was thinking, well, I never want to repeat a talk that I've done. And I couldn't figure out, I couldn't remember what I did last time I was here. I was looking at all my notes. And then I was thinking, you know what? I'm looking at that beautiful kindness poster right there with all the sunflowers. I was thinking, you know, this is really my main talk, is really about being kind to ourselves and to others. If I did this every week, we would never hear enough of it, I believe. That kindness is really the foundation for everything that we're doing, that we're looking at, that we're saying, my prayer is your prayer, so that you're saying that these are my prayers. I'm being kind to you by thinking about you, by being present enough to think of the people in your life. So kindness to me is the foundation of everything we do, and when we can be kind to ourselves, that's the foundation. So one of the things I love doing when I look at this topic is looking at different scenarios that go out in the world and collect stories. I love collecting stories. And I love this story that I just heard, that I just read on Facebook. And here's a woman who wrote on Facebook, "To the man in line behind me at the Gainesville Target, who saw that after hitting my grocery budget limit, I decided to put back my pumpkin spice candle and the makeup that I had picked out for myself. You didn't know that I always save my stuff for the last and usually end up putting it back because I can't afford it. You didn't know that the 2 fussy kids I had with me were only 2 out of 4. You didn't know that I have postpartum depression and that I use that scent, that pumpkin scent, as a way to boost my mood. You didn't know that this week has been full of sick kids, parent-teacher conferences, and emergency dental visits. And I was so looking forward to lighting that candle at nap time and just taking a minute to relax. Even without knowing that, you saw me. You saw me as a human, not just the mom in front of you that was distracted and going way too slow. You heard me say that I'd like to put these items back, and you said that you were getting them for me. You didn't take no for an answer. You told me, you deserve it. And when I started to tear up, you, sir, saw me and said, it's my pleasure. You made my day, probably my week, and I will pay this forward. Thank you so much for your kind heart and your words, even though I'll never see you again, probably. And I love this picture I just found on Facebook also. It's a picture of a man with 2 little kids bending down to help them. And the story says, I pulled up to the hardware store and watched this take place right in front of me. This guy sees these 2 kids walking in the pouring rain while one is pushing a broken bicycle. And he stops everything he is doing and spends 5 minutes getting drenched in the rain while he fixes this little boy's bike. These kids rode off so happy, and the man left with a smile on his face from ear to ear. This is the America that I know. High five to you, good sir. And I love this one too. I saw this on Facebook. It's a sign at a Starbucks that someone wrote in big letters, today you could be standing next to someone who was really trying their very best not to fall apart. So whatever you do today, do it with kindness in your heart. Do you ever notice that when we see each other, a lot of times we'll just say, we'll see a person on the street, someone we know, and you'll say, how you doing? And they go, oh, fine, I'm fine, everything's great. And you go, oh, good, me too, fine, and you walk on. But one of the things I do in all of my women's retreats is we have this little ritual that we do, that we get to say, how are you doing? And the person puts their hand on their heart, and they take a deep breath, stop and drop into that place. And they really talk about how they're doing. Not in a big, long 20-minute monologue. They just say, I was going to say I was fine, but today I'm really sad. Or today I'm lonely. Or today I could really use just a smile. And the person, instead of thinking that they now have to go off with them for 20 minutes and hear all their stories, they just simply say, I see you and I hear you. Isn't that the greatest gift we can give anybody? I see you and I hear you. Actually, do me a favor, look around the room right now. Just put your hands like this. Go like this first. Put your hand on your heart for a minute so you get a little bump from your heart. Do that again. And I want you to just do this. Look around the room, put your hands up, and just look at the people in this community. Just look at them. You can smile if you want. But I mean, that's why we come to this church. That's why we come here. Yes, it's about the speaker. Yes, it's about the music. But it's really about this. It's about exactly what this gentleman said, about that when he comes here, he doesn't feel so isolated. You know, this is what this church is. It's a place where we can be kind to each other, that we can see each other, that we can be in community. You are your own tribe here. And when we start our Sunday mornings being in a place where you are seen and heard and we are kind to each other, what a great foundation for the week, don't you think? Don't you think? So going back to that little song of I Will Be Gentle with Myself, when my friend said, stop, don't talk to yourself like that, she said, would you ever imagine speaking to a child like you're speaking to yourself? And from that place, I wrote that song. I put the phone down and I went, okay, you're right. And I started to do this to myself. You know, when babies are, especially babies in orphanages, have you ever seen video of that where they're in their little crib and they're doing this? This is a natural human response to just nurture yourself by rocking. So I invite you to this week, if you're feeling anything, if you're feeling sad or lonely or scared or whatever, that you do this, that you give yourself, even every morning to just say, good morning, little person, how are you? You look beautiful, whatever, just that you just give yourself that nurturing. Because when you walk out the door with that nurturing, that's how it starts. You can see other people. So, actually I want to do something else radical. With what we've all been through this pandemic, it's been pretty gosh darn hard. And we've gone through a lot of that by ourselves. Now at least we're coming back. We can sing together. We can be with each other. But I want you right now, as you are able, to stand up, and I want you to give yourself a standing ovation. I'm serious. I just want you to stand up, and I want you to look around the room right now and give everybody a standing ovation for what they've gone through, what they've done. Come on, louder, even louder. Come on, get that energy going. Standing ovation. All right, you can sit. Because, even just doing that moves that energy around. So imagine, I want you to do something for me this week. I want you to, in the morning, when you look at yourself in the mirror, I want you to go, you are so fabulous, and just start applauding yourself. Just do that. Can you try doing that just for a few days? There's a friend of mine that has this ritual that she does every night, where it's the self-compassion ritual. And she did it, she said, I'm going to try this for a week. And she felt so good after a week that she did it for 2, then 3. She's been doing this for 5 years every single night. And what she does is she looks in the mirror, and her name is Noreen in New York. You might be watching Noreen. She looks at herself in the mirror and she said, Noreen, I acknowledge you for what? Noreen, you did a great job today doing whatever, blank. Noreen, I love you. And she does this every single night. And what she said is that because of knowing that at the end of the day, she has to acknowledge herself, she has to be kind to herself, she has to see what she did, she becomes more present and aware of what she's done in the day. It can even be, Noreen, you gave kindness to this person who was kind of rude in the store to you. Noreen, you did, whatever it is. But because she knows she has to do this at the end of the day, she's looking for it. Does that make sense? So can you maybe try that this week? A little kindness to yourself. So when you think about kindness to yourself, then you start to look at the world. You start to look at other people. And one of the things I said at the very beginning of this talk was the idea of it starts with being present. So that's why every morning I have a ritual that I do of I just put my hand over my heart and I just check in, see how I'm feeling, and one of my words for the day is to be present. Because when I'm present, the difference is, if I'm not present, I'm walking around like this, right? I don't see things. But when I'm present, my gaze goes more wide. And so, for example, like I was in Starbucks, my personal church. I was in Starbucks recently, and there was someone she ordered a cup of coffee. And, she's fiddling with her change. She can't find her change in her purse. And what I try and do is whenever I have an opportunity to tithe in some way to someone, this is my little way of doing it. My little way. So I say to the barista, I say, I'll pay for her coffee. This woman, literally, her head just almost does like an exorcist thing, like this, and she looks at me, and she goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to pay for your coffee." She said, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that?" And I went, "Well, it's kind of like a thing I like to do." And she goes, "I'm fine. You don't have to pay for my coffee." And I said, "Lady, look, it's just a cup of coffee. It's just my little spiritual practice. Just take it." And she's like, we kind of go back and forth. And then finally she goes, "Fine, whatever." So I'm going, oh, God, why did I do this? And that's the other thing, when you're kind, sometimes it's really vulnerable. It's really vulnerable if you put yourself out there. But it's my little practice, and if someone doesn't want to accept it, whatever. So she goes, "Whatever, fine." So now we walk down, and now we're sitting there, when they're making our coffees, you're just sitting there waiting, and I'm just going, oh, this was really a mistake. And, it's just this kind of awkward silence. But then all of a sudden she turns to me, and her face totally changed. It's just soft now. And she turns to me and she goes, "No one ever does stuff like this for me. No one ever does stuff like this." And I go, "Well, thank you. It was my honor thank you for letting me do that." And then we're quiet again. It's kind of awkward. And she turns to me and she goes, "So is this one of those pay it forward kind of things?" And I'm like, whatever. But I mean, that's the thing, when we allow ourselves to just be vulnerable and put ourselves out in that way, to anybody, you don't know what it's going to be. But it's my practice. That's why I say my religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. And then there's the kind of practicing kindness right within our own homes. So a great story. I have these friends, older couple, Jerry and Diane, very Jewish, Jerry and Diane. And so every morning, Jerry gets up and he makes a bagel. It's a sesame seed bagel. And he cuts the knife, and he cuts the bagel in half, and there's all these sesame seed crumbs all over the kitchen counter. And so when Diane comes in to make her coffee, every single morning, for years and years and years, she would get really pissy at Jerry for not just cleaning up the sesame seeds. It's like she'd come in, he'd be having his bagel. "Jerry, can you not just take the sponge? I left it right there for you. You just do one sweep, and all the bagel crumbs are gone. Then I have a fresh thing that I can make my bagel. Can you just do that for me?" And every morning he'd go, "Yes, I would do it." And the next morning she'd wake up. So she'd start her day every morning just pissy. So one day she wakes up, and this is what transformation is. We think of transformation or enlightenment as it's like the angels are going to sing and it's going to be the lights open up and everything, the heavens part. Transformation sometimes can be like that. When you get an aha and you just change, it's like, boop. And actually in sign language, I have a song where it's like, when you do a change, the sign language is just boop, like that. And so one morning she comes in, she sees the bagel crumbs. And in that moment, she has one of those. She looks at the bagel crumbs and she realizes that because those crumbs are there, that all those seeds are there, it means he's still here. Because one day he won't be. And that morning she looked at those seeds and she just teared up and realized that was the representation of him still being there every morning for her, that she would wake up and know that his bagel crumbs were there. And actually 6 months later, he was gone. But she just wiped up those crumbs that morning with just love. With just love. And that's what we've got to do. That's what we have to do. And I love this little thing I found. This hit me. You never really know the true impact you have on those around you. You never know how much someone needed that smile that you gave them. You never know how much your kindness turns someone's entire life around. You never know how much someone needed that long hug or that deep talk. So don't wait to be kind. Don't wait for someone else to be kind first. Don't wait for better circumstances or for someone to change. Just be kind. Just because you never know how much someone needs it. You know, I had an experience when my mother died many, many years ago, that I was in Costco buying toilet paper. Why this happened to me right in front of the Charmin, I have no idea. But you know, when you're going through grief, you'll have waves. You ever been through that, where you just have a wave come up? You never know when that wave is going to come. You could be fine, you could be just fine, but then all of a sudden you go, oh, here it comes, here it comes. And I was in front of the Charmin that day, and all of a sudden my mother had just passed a few weeks earlier, and all of a sudden the wave came up. And I just put my head down, and I just started to cry. I just realized you can't run away from it. You can't push it down. I mean, that's what we do sometimes, don't we? It's like when you think about beach balls in the water, it's like we do that with things. We just put it down. Like if I just keep juggling fast and fast, I could keep them down. You know, I've learned in my older age, whatever's supposed to come up, just let it come. So I just sat there and went, okay, here it comes. I'm going to have my moment. Put my head down. I wasn't sobbing. I was just putting my head down and crying quietly. And all of a sudden, I felt this. I felt someone just put their hand on my shoulder. Just put their hand there just for a moment. And I let it just be. I let it be that I felt someone's support. I didn't turn around immediately. I just felt it, had my moment. And when I opened my eyes, I looked around and there was no one there. And I realized that's what we can be for each other. It's just that person that is there when you're needed, or when you feel that someone needs to just hear from you. And that's where I think we need to let God come in and give us, I call it shoulder taps. Because God will give you those little moments where it's like, oh, no, go back and say something to this person. Or all of a sudden you'll get an idea in your mind that you need to call somebody that you haven't thought of for a while. Or you'll just go up to someone and say, hey, how you doing today? You know, and really not do it from a, hey, how you doing? It's just really like, how are you? Have you ever noticed, like, even spending that extra moment when, going back to Starbucks, when the barista is giving you your coffee and you just, instead of just going, thank you, that you just really check in and go, thank you, that you really see them. And I'm not talking that extra moment of woo-woo metaphysical, like, thank you, wow, the meanness in me sees the you-ness in you, and we're connected and bonded, and they're just kind of going, ew, you're weird. You know, it's just that extra moment that you see them. Or when you have, or if you call some, you know, organization, if I call PG&E and I get someone on the phone, you know, and they're like, yeah, how can I help you? And you go, how are you today? Before you even ask the question or make your complaint, how are you today? And you just take that moment. And have you ever had that when you do that and the person goes, I'm fine. You know, oh, you're seeing that I'm a human being on the other end of the line. Oh, what a concept. Or even when you write your checks to organizations, to PG&E or whatever, that you say thank you. Whoever's there, I even do this with the government. When I pay my taxes, I put a sticky note on there and go, thank you for, thanks for taking my money. But, you know, thank you for what you do. So let's do a little meditation here for a moment. So I want you to put your hands on your heart. You can all go to this microphone now. So put your hands on your heart. And close your eyes. I'm going to teach you this little chant. It just says, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. That's the whole thing. So let's try singing that together. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be well, peaceful and at ease. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. Now I want you to direct some energy to yourself for a moment. With your hand on your heart, you just scan your life and just give yourself credit for all you do, who you are. And just sing to yourself right now. you can even imagine looking in the mirror to yourself, looking in your eyes and saying, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be well, peaceful and at ease. May I be peaceful and at ease, happy. And may I be happy. Good job. Now I want you to think about someone in your life that you have warm feelings for. It could be people in this congregation, family members. Just open your heart, picture them in your mind's eye, and direct some loving kindness to them by saying, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be well, peaceful and at ease. May you be peaceful and at ease, happy. And may you be happy. All right, I'm going to challenge you a little bit now. Think of someone you have a little issue with in your life. They might be someone that just rubs you the wrong way or gets you all triggered up. It could be a family member, a coworker, and to the extent that you can open your heart to them, just picture them in your mind's eye and just say, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be well, peaceful. May you be peaceful and at ease, happy. And may you be happy. That was very good. You're healed now. So now let's end this with, let's bring loving kindness to all beings, to people in this room, to the community. If you want to even go outside this country, sending some love to Ukraine, wherever you want to send some loving kindness, picture that place, those groups of people, whatever, in your mind's eye, and say, may we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be well, peaceful. May we be peaceful and at ease, happy. And may we be happy. So bring it back to yourself now. And I want to give you homework for this week. I want you to think about if you could do one loving act of kindness to yourself. Maybe it's something pampering for yourself. And then think about, after you do something for yourself, where can you place some loving kindness to someone in your life? Maybe it's calling a friend and just saying, I appreciate you, whatever it is. So an act to yourself, an act to someone else, and if you feel that much more inspired, an act to the world. Maybe you want to make a donation to an organization that you care about. But let's go back one more time and sing, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be well, peaceful. May I be peaceful and at ease, happy. And may I be happy. Just that last line, may I be happy. And may I be happy. And let's affirm it and say, I am happy, and you are allowed to smile. And I am happy. So make kindness your religion this week. Thanks for listening.
I think the only introduction you need is that you're fabulous.
Thank you.
Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we are an ocean of love. Or we are meditation. There we are. We are an ocean of love. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. Please join me in saying them aloud. Our vision is, centered in God, we co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is, we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are: we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, feeling so inspired by our vision, mission, and values, and feeling so enriched by what we've experienced here today, let us take time now to be a channel of enrichment ourselves through our generous tithes and love offerings. We'll hear another song in a moment, but please take that time to write out a check to USC, or if you're on Zoom, to make a donation online. If you are here in the sanctuary, our usher has already come forward to take your offering. And practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a community, we are pleased to tithe 10% of the offering collected every Sunday to the various Unity organizations and local nonprofits that serve our city. So let us now take a moment to bless our tithes and love offerings as we cup them either in our hands or hold them next to our hearts. Let us say our offering blessing, which is going to be on your screen. Maybe, there. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
So I'll give you a brand new song off my brand new album. It goes like this. Sometimes I need